can always email me and check with stuff. So if you feel lost at all, come meet with me later. We might just need to talk. So announcements, then we'll go through things. If you are progressing or missing on the mastery, if you never turned it in, the progressing to mastery is on Schoology. That would also be how you go from missing to mastery. But you would still want to come show me your original mastery. But we'll probably just talk about it together really quick of like why you didn't turn it in on time. Because we're about to go over all the answers. Don't put your mastery away, please. If I just gave you your mastery back, keep it out. Plan book. Check Khan Academy. A lot of you were late on January 12th or January 19th things. And then if I need to update your grades, please send me an email. We just started a new semester, right? Like 2 weeks ago, we started the new semester. So I'm trying to find where my music is to turn it off. There we go. So we are starting a new unit today. That's why we just took a unit test, right, with rates and proportional relationships. We are starting your notes totally 100% fresh. So if for you that would be easier to like flip your notebook and start taking notes again from the back of the notebook forward, or like paperclip all your previous notes and like start here, you want to be able to quickly get to right here as the new starting point in your math notebook. So for me, what I did to be able to do that was just a Post-it, right? I stuck a Post-it on here that says 127.21. So you can do that later if you want. I'm going to try to get some Post-its where you guys can actually get to them. I'm probably going to start to leave some student resources back on the desk back there, or the counter, I guess we can call it. So if you want to post it, you can get it from there. We're not going to take notes right yet. We're going to talk about the mastery. So the mastery. Please read through these things really quickly. Look at the question that you missed on the mastery or questions, and then look at the corresponding number up here. And then I'll talk about all of it in a minute. All right, so for number one, most of us got that one. It was $30 per hour, stayed consistent. Everyone should be looking at their test. So if you aren't, like, I'm not going to show it up on the screen. You should be looking at your test. Number two, the price changed, right? It starts at $1 per roll and does not stay that way. But in number three, the trap door that a lot of you fell into, so don't feel bad if you fell into this trap door because a lot of you fell into it, is the order of the division. When it asks for price per roll, that tells you to do dollars divided by rolls. A lot of you did number of rolls divided by dollars. That will get you a different answer. So we have to do price divided by dollars. And guys, I will tell you on the Progressing to Mastery, I asked you questions about what we're discussing right now. So if anything I say doesn't make sense, stick my hand and be like, wait, hold on. Number four, most of us got that one with $70 per hour, and then 3 more hours would be an extra $210. So you could have given me $210, or you could have given me $560 for the total cost. 5 got almost everyone. So if you got 5 correct, give yourself like a pat on the back. 5 is tricky. And I knew it when I wrote it, because 0 friends, which would be sad, but 0 friends does not cost $0. 0 friends costs $100 still. 1 friend would cost $110, 2 friends, $120, right? 10 friends, 200. So it goes up consistently. There's a consistent change here, but it's not proportional. That's the trick. So guys, in your Progressing to Mastery, you will type to me why, like in your own words, why this situation is not proportional. So if what I just said doesn't make sense, ask me about it. But it is because, look at the bottom sentence. It says, is the relationship between friends invited, friends, proportional to total cost? So the point, like the XY would be friends cost. And it's not 0, 0. 0 friends is $100 just to have the space and have a party. I can have a party by myself. If none of my friends show up, I'm still having a party.
That's not kind of boring.
Whatever. Clark?
I got the answer right, but I feel like what you said is totally different from the reason that I said no. And
Okay.
like what the reason I said it is because so if it wasn't the $100 fee originally, then it would be.
You're right. If there was no original fee, it would be proportional. If the only money we had to pay was per person, you're right, it would be proportional. But there's also a fee that does not relate to the per person. That's why it's not. So what you said is right. Get rid of the fee, and it would be proportional. But because we have the fee, it is not. Guys, it's like the paintball problem from Con. If you have to pay just to go play, and then you pay per paintball, that's not proportional. It's consistent. The price per paintball might stay the same. The price per person might stay the same. But it's that fee at the beginning.
Wait, you have to pay for every single paintball that you
depends on where, like, they normally say, okay, 200 paintballs is this much. Here you go.
Oh, I thought you meant like for every single. Like,
No, but I mean,
if you wanted to buy
if
one
you only
paintball,
if you only shot 157 paintballs, would you really want to pay for all 200? So would you want to pay per paintball? Maybe. When I go paintballing, I don't shoot very much because I shoot accurately. And then there's other people who are like, bah, 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 bah. And they waste all their money and they waste all their paintballs. That's what we used to do in Coshocton for fun. All right, number 6. Most of us got that 4.1 miles per hour. We divided the miles by the hours and got 4.1. Number 7, guys, write this down. If you got number 7 wrong, constant of proportionality is y over x. So most of you got it right in part A there. Y equals 4.5x. But in part B and C, when you look at y divided by x and b, it changes, right? Your answers change, your constant of proportionalities change, so it's not proportional. And in C, it should have been 2/3. If you had 1.5, you did it backwards. So you're really close. You just did it backwards. You did x over y. That's what everybody who got it wrong wrote 1.5. That was like the trapdoor answer, because that's x over y. But if we do y over x, it's 2 over 3. The y equals equation always has y on top. 8 was 8.5. And 9 was supposed to be a reminder to you guys of if it goes through 0, 0, and if it is a straight line, yes, it is proportional. So yes, that graph is proportional, but that could also be a reminder for why the front situation would not be proportional. So if we think about this as money and friends invited, and we think about what that graph would look like for the situation on the front, we would start at 100. And then we would go in a straight line, but because we would start at 100, that's what breaks it. That's what makes it not proportional. So that is our review for the mastery. So go ahead and put that away now, and let's talk about your math notebook. The 10 was just make up your own situation. So yeah, I mean, there is no right or wrong answer. It's I had to check each of your situations individually. So yeah, number 10 would not have pulled you down to a progressing, but it could have pushed you up to an exemplary. A couple people that did happen. All right. If you did not turn in a math notebook yet, you need one of these, so raise your hand. Even if you did turn in a math notebook, if you can't find this, I maybe forgot to stick it in your notebook. So raise your hand and I will bring you one. This is our rubric. I think other teachers have probably used rubrics with you before. What's a rubric? Clark, you want to tell me what a rubric is?
Yes. It shows how to get each grade
going to be graded on. So this, I did not use this time. But this is what's going to be used in the future. So most of you, I just shoved this in your notebook and just like went on with my day. And in the future is when more of you are going to have check minuses or things like that, because you know what you're being graded on. Now, hopefully you won't have check minuses because you know what you're being graded on. So let's talk about this. You today, check it, your math notes today are going to have a page that we're about to take about your math notebook. Then we'll take math notes on a separate piece of paper. So start a piece of paper with the next notes check is February 10th. So don't write down 11th because that's for green. That's why I wrote it in green. The next notes check is February 10th for blue. And you can also write only new. Now what do I mean by that? We're starting today moving forward. I never again plan to look at anything you've done prior to January 27th, 2021. Right? So for those of you that toggling back and forth between hybrid and remote and everything else made keeping a math notebook tough, I get it. I do. But now that we're back in school together and we have some consistency and I don't see anything changing anytime soon, we're going to ratchet up what's expected from you because we've gotten some of that consistency back. So, you don't need to write down this whole let's start fresh so we can all master. But what I mean by that is we're starting like brand new. Like today is day one, and I'm only going to grade from now moving forward. So a lot of you, I say this with love, a lot of you didn't deserve a check on your math notebook. And I don't necessarily mean a lot of you. I just mean in general. The notebooks I looked at were kind of poopy. But we are now together, and I am here to help you, and we are going to fix that. So next time when I check math notebooks, hopefully we are all checks because you know I'm going to be critical on February 10th when I collect your math notebook. So here's your rubric. I numbered these sections 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you should do the same. If at the end of class you tape this into your notes, that'd be a good idea to tape or staple this into your notes, whatever you prefer, or glue. Man, glue. Who uses glue? Sorry, I just like had this like, oh yeah, glue exists.
Yeah,
like I had like.
I was about to ask, like, where's the glue? Don't we have glue?
All right, I need you to write down some sort of whatever I have written here. It doesn't have to be word for word, but so that you remember and can't come cry to me if you get a check minus. To get a check for the first spot, what I'm going to be looking for is that every class period, so it should be every other day, every class period should have a header and a date. Every class period should have a header and a date. So really, every piece of paper in your notebook should have a date on it somewhere, and it might have two dates. If you worked on it one day and then came back to it another day, or you might start a new piece of paper every time it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Number 2, vocabulary / definitions. When we write down vocab, it's pointless if you just write down the word like terms. You gotta have a definition with it. What does that vocab word mean? And there's almost always an example that goes with it well, or as well. Sorry, I skipped over a word there. So, your vocab should be obvious. Notice, I underlined this word. I highlighted this word. I could circle this word and put stars around this word if I wanted to. Your vocab should be obvious. Right? You could put stars around things.
Or would you?
Huh?
Would you?
Would I? I would highlight it. That's what I do. Or I underline it like most normally I just underline. Number 3, Problems and solutions from class are in your notes. If I'm moving too quickly for you to get it written down, tell me to stop. Guys, we're on the same team, right? I reminded somebody of that in email when they're like, hey, you put my grade in as a missing. And I was like, hey, I know, we're on the same team. I'm not trying to play gotcha. It's just feedback, right? So I'm not trying to give you a check minus in your notes, but you need to write down the examples I write in class. If I'm going too fast, you have to tell me. That's your job, literally, is to tell me if I'm moving too quickly for you. And number 4, general organization. Guys, none of you, but somebody turned in a math notebook that was their everything notebook. It had connections, it had science, it was a lined paper notebook, not a graph notebook, and nothing was organized. So literally what I wrote on their notebook was train wreck. It was not any of you, it wasn't even a math 7 kid. I'll tell you that, it was a math 8 kid. Gwen? Thank you for that. So which part? You probably need to change desks then, is what I'm really thinking. So have you been able to hear what I've said to write it down? Okay, so number 3 is like what you could write is just like if I write it in class, you write it in your notes. So what this says is problems/solutions from class are in notes. So you could really just put like in class, in notes. Like if we do it in class, it's in your notes. Now, what is in your math notebook from Khan Academy when you do your practice? That's all up to you. But what I do want to encourage you is don't do your Khan Academy work on random paper that you then throw away. Do it in your math notebook. Like just label it KA and put that work in your math notebook. I'm not looking for that to be like super clean or anything particular, but I want to see that you did work. And as we move forward, you're gonna have to write stuff down as we do Khan Academy together. And then Gwen, number 5 just says not a train wreck. You know, when people say like not a train wreck. So like the minimum for getting a check in general organization is not a train wreck.
So just like having a singular math notebook.
Yeah, that like literally that's what I put over here too, a dedicated spot. Right? Like you need a like that is not a train wreck. Right? Now, if you skip a page here or there or like something's out of order, like that's okay. That's a little messy, but not a train wreck. Right? We can be a little messy. So guys, this, what we just wrote down, I'm expecting is in your notebook on page 1 when I check it the next time. Not necessarily page 1, but you know what I mean, the first page I care about. So now, moving forward, we will head our paper, and today I'm going to kind of break my own rule a tiny bit. My header is technically expressions, equations, and inequalities, but if you would like to make your header the vocab, you could instead just make the entire top of your paper defining these 3 vocab words, expressions, equations, and inequalities. So and I'm probably going to switch over to my other slide so that Gwen can see. Oh, this is why I type this stuff out, so I don't forget. The other thing, like as soon as I get done with your class today, I'm going to rip this paper out of this notebook, and it's going here. Because I take notes on my graph paper, not in a binder, because my binder kind of annoys me trying to work in it. It's too much desk space. But then I keep my notes in here. So if you need to check my math notes, like Maggie was out, or like you went to the bathroom for 20 minutes because you weren't going to the bathroom, you actually just wandered to school. Whatever. If you miss class and miss notes, you can get them from me here. I'm no longer posting them on Schoology because we're here at school together. You should come talk to me if like I went too fast. Mine go in order. So the newest is in the back of the Math 7 section. So all of this stuff that you'll see right here is what we've done in January. I reset my binder. Everything previous from January, if you want to see like the expectation for how much math notes should we actually have, Here's my Math 7 stack for
Is that
fall.
from all classes?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I don't write the notes again, but that is for fall, like semester. That was through January. Here's Math 2, and here's Math 8. These are my previous notebooks. But that was a binder worth of notes. That was this binder. Because we write a lot, and I write bigger than Math 7. Like, just because yeah. I don't know how to explain why. All right, so here's our vocab. Expressions, equations, and inequalities. Would you know the difference if you looked at them? Well, excuse me. What? You don't need to write this down right yet. I'll show you in a second. What does an equation have that an expression doesn't? Shout it out. Equal sign. What does an inequality tell you? Shout it out.
Whether or not something is bigger or smaller.
Yeah, something's bigger. So here's your definitions. An expression. Gwen, can you see that or no? So this can be your header. Or you can make your header those 3 words and then define the words again. And I'll move this out of the way. So you can either head your paper with expressions, equations, and inequalities and then define them again, or just make your header section these 3 definitions. Like literally that can be the header of your paper. Does that make sense? This is now the lesson. So new page, right? This is a new page of paper. New page, not the page you were just writing on. Hey guys, this page should be new. If you repeat it like 5 times, it tends to work for 7th graders. 3 times is not enough.
Just yell at somebody in French.
But I don't know French to yell. Man, I can hear Spanish much better than I can speak it, if that makes sense. Like I can hear it and decipher it. I'm trying to think of like pick up your pen. So I forget what pick up a lápiz. Un papel. Ooh! A really fun word in Spanish is un bolígrafo, which is a pen. I think. Bolígrafo, yeah, bolígrafo is pen. I need to get like Babbel or one of those apps to practice up my Spanish.
Babbel costs money.
I'm an adult. I have money.
I mean, Duolingo doesn't work. I've used Rosetta Stone. I've tried to use Babbel.
So, at a minimum, what should be in your notes for these definitions? At a minimum for your definitions is expressions, numbers, and or variables. That's the minimum definition for expression. An equation, sorry, I abbreviated these words so that I would know that I had enough space. An equation, 2 expressions are equal. 2 expressions are equal. Because I try to make the shortest definitions I can for you. And then an inequality, something's bigger. And if something's bigger, something's smaller, right? If something is bigger, the other thing is smaller. So one expression is bigger, leaving the other expression to be smaller. You good? Inequality, right? Inequalities is one expression is bigger. One expression is bigger. Yeah, but I have very little class time today. I'm already running out of class time. We only have till 53. I have like 15 minutes left. So guys, I am going to need to speed up a tiny bit to even get through some of what we need to get through. So the next section. Sorry, are we all good to move on? If not, please tell me. For the definitions. All I care about is the definitions. All right, so now when we look, we're going to start with expressions, right? Why wouldn't we start with anything, or why would we start with anything else? An expression can be broken up into what we call terms. You don't have to write that down. What you need to write down is this. If our expression was 7n plus 2, we can break up these pieces into the variable part, and the constant part. Guys, I do not know why this word is so hard for 7th graders to remember, but a number that doesn't have anything else with it. Like no variable, no, nothing complicated, just a number. It's constant. 5 is 5 is 5. It's constant. 5 does not all of a sudden become 6. 2 does not all of a sudden become K.
The only thing that I remember before watching the kamikaze videos over this past week was variable.
We talked about this way back in the fall, just as like a brief intro, but then we like leave it for a while.
No, because like I never remember constants or coefficients.
Yeah.
I remember variables.
Well, make sure you get these written down then.
I did.
So the coefficient. Sorry, there's dog hair in my mask.
How many dollars do you have?
4, which is approximately the exact right amount, but too much hair.
Yeah,
It's funny because I had dog hair in my mask earlier.
This one I've never taken home, so I know this one doesn't have dog hair.
I have a dog. I have the dog hair that's perfect because you know mask.
Yeah. All right, so coefficient, and guys, I'm gonna test you on all these vocab words, so like, because it's important when you're reading math to understand what the words mean. Coefficient is just a fancy way to say multiplier. You can have a coefficient on a constant, but we normally don't. So normally it's the multiplier with variable. Glenn, please just ask if there's anything you can't see or need me to read again. So coefficient is multiplier with variable. The variable is our unknown. And the constant. 2 is 2 is 2. And 2 is 2 2. So, making sure I don't skip anything that I had here. Oh yeah, the reason that we talk about these as 2 terms is there's an operation splitting them up. And not that it's subtracting or dividing, but it literally between them says you have this and that. You have 7n and you have 2. Right? So that operation makes us have 2 terms here. Now, can I put 7n and 2 together? No, because they are not like terms. So the next vocab to write down, please, is like terms, same variable to the same power. So you can just write what's on the screen up here, same variable to the same power. You don't have to write what's in parentheses, because we'll talk about that. If you don't have a variable, that's the same as having the same variable. So if you don't have a variable, that's the same as having the same variable. It's the blue at the top. Same variable. Like terms. Sorry, where's my mouse? There it is. Same variable to the same power. You do not need to write down what's in the pictures. Those are there for examples. So 4a is, and in COVID times, this is kind of an interesting way to talk about this. 4a and 5 are like socially distanced from each other because of the plus sign. Right? And I'm trying to make a little light of this, but I hope you all know, like, I take this very seriously. But so 5 does not know who 4a is. And 5 does not want to hang out with 4a. You know, like when you walk into the gas station or someone, you're like, I don't want to get close to you. So, like terms will hang out with each other. They're in each other's, like, circle of trust. I don't know if you guys have, like, another family that you hang out with, like, right now. Or, like there are people in your circle of trust. Like terms are in each other's circle of trust. So 4a and 2a decide that they trust each other. They come together, they hang out, and they make 6a. 5 and 3, make 2. Oh, it's negative 3. So remember, the sign in front of a term goes with it. It belongs to it. So if I am comparing 4x squared and 14x, these are not like terms. Guys, I got some eyes like floating around my classroom. I'm hoping that we're listening. X squared is completely different from x. They're like, it's like purple versus like Sunday, right? Like they're completely different. Even though they both use x, I'm trying to think of, so it's like saying Monday versus daytime, right? Like they both might use the word day, but they're two totally different things. One is a day of the week, and one is like a time, right? So like x squared, I'm not making a very good example because I'm trying to do this on the fly. What confuses kids is that this is x and this is x, and I can't put them together. They're like, why? They're both x's. Because x squared is literally a square. X is a line. Literally, x is a line. X squared is a square. So, x doesn't want to hang out with him because he's squared. You know, he's a square. But x squared hangs out with x squared. Now, the other thing, xy, that involves x also, right? Why can't we put the x with that? xy might as well be z. xy is its own variable. It uses x and it uses y, but it is not x, nor is it y. It is its own variable. It might as well be like delta, or like, I don't know, like anything. It doesn't matter that it uses x and uses y. That does not matter. The only things you could put with xy are other xy's. So what we are going to write down are these examples. So now notice I'm going to go left to right with the different problems, but I'm going to go down to solve the problem. So z and z, right? Like terms. If you want to be real technical, what power is on z? What power is up here, even though we don't see it? A 1. So if you want to be really technical, these are z to the first power, but we don't need to write that. We really do not need to write that. It's just if you want to be super technical. Now, the trapdoor. God, guys, it sounds like the world is just full of trapdoors. The trapdoor, I guarantee you're going to do at some point, and then prove me wrong. I like being proved wrong. Is you're going to go 3z minus z, 2z. Oh yeah, negative 2z. No. Charlie?
A negative minus anything is always going to be a larger negative.
Yeah, more negative, right? Bigger negative, further negative. So, this, sorry, Glenn, try to make sure that you can see this. This is the same as saying negative 3z plus another negative z. Remember when we talked about, and I think you guys started to realize Mr. Hudson is crazy. When we talked about subtraction is a lie.
Oh yeah,
Liars.
you have to like use both subtraction thingamajigs to make a plus sign.
Yes, well, that's coming in a minute. So, we have a negative 3z and a negative z. What number's actually in front of this z? 1 also. So remember, if they don't show you the coefficient, it's 1. So bad guy 3z, bad guy 1z, they team up, bad guy 4z.
That was so confusing.
What about it was confusing, Lily? Let's do a couple more, and if you still have questions, I really need you to ask. Okay? So for, assuming that you remember how to write a p, for negative 4p plus negative 6p, they already have it in plus the negative. So we just have two bad guys, right? The two bad guys can team up, make a bigger bad guy. So just like at the beginning of the year when we were just doing this with numbers of like negative 4 plus negative 6, and we would say they're both bad guys, they team up. And we would make negative 10. We're doing the same thing, except we have to check that they have the same variable and keep that same variable. So, Lily, if you look at the S problems there, do we have like terms? Do they both have the same variable with the same power? Yes. So then we want to compare good guy, bad guy, because we're trying to join them together. Well, we have a good guy of strength 2, S, and a bad guy of strength 4, S. We don't really know what S is, but whatever S is, this guy's got 2 of them, and this guy's got 4 of them. He's good and he's bad. Who wins, the good guy or the bad guy? The bad guy by 2. It's a negative 2S. Don't worry, the cops show up. Taking away bad guys is a good thing. I had to go close my neighbor's garage last night because I was afraid some bad people might come steal their bicycles. No joke, because no one lives at that house right now. I went into the garage and hit the button and then jumped the laser. Yeah. There's a laser. It makes me feel like Mission Impossible, and it's like...
Oh, what, like James Bond?
Yeah, but for real. So they left. They forgot to shut their garage, and I know there are bad guys in my neighborhood, so I would like those bad guys removed, and then I wouldn't be afraid of bikes getting stolen. I've had my bike stolen. It sucks. So removing bad guys. Removing bad guys turns into addition. Remember, minus a negative. Or you can think of it as the opposite of a negative. And the opposite of a negative is a positive. Or you can think the opposite of a bad guy is a good guy.
What if it's an anti-hero?
That looks like a guy with his eyes closed.
And because I'm out of time, the last one I'm going to show you is one where we actually have to group up our like terms based off them being like. So if we had n's and constants, right? Our n's can combine with our n's, and our constants with our constants. Sorry, this problem comes from over here, this trapdoor problem. So, if I move that down and scooch this, might be able to show.
Wait, so is 6 the constant then?
Yeah, negative 4 is a constant, and 6 is also a constant. Now, the big trapdoor here is minus negative 4n becomes a positive 4n. So then when we group all the like terms up, we get positive 3n and positive 2. But the 3n doesn't really know who's like 3n has this n that we don't know what it is. So what we're wondering is like, well, would the 3n and the 2 group together, or would they fight each other? And we don't know. Until we know what n is, we don't know. Because think about it. If this dude has 3 boxes, and you're like, do I want to go, like, hey, just for a second, do I want to go, like, see what those boxes are? Well, if they're boxes full of killer bees, probably not. But if they're boxes full of candy, yeah. So if we don't know what n is,
Didn't your mom tell you not to trust people with candy in their cars?
no, those are the best people.
Oh, okay.
I've made many a friend. No, I'm joking. Totally joking. In case you think I'm not. I was about to say I've made many a friend from people offering me candy. No, that is a joke.
How many times have you been put up for a missing poster?
Well, the funny thing is, they kidnap me, but then I talk so much, they just, give me back.
That was